game just based on the weaker preparation we had. And there's oftentimes a Wednesday or Thursday practice where I felt like it hasn't been up to our standard, and you say that to the team, and there's things that we got to fix. But this week, I didn't feel that way. I felt like our guys were on top of the details and really dialed in, and our coaches really went the extra mile with some of the game plan stuff, making sure we got some extra meetings in, and our players responded well to it, and it showed yesterday.
Thank you.
Coach, how difficult is the balancing act to saying, I don't want to overload my players, but the volume of stuff that Baltimore does, we do have to take care of business in a lot of different ways. Where's that balancing act to how much is too much and will just a little bit cover it all?
Well, we have confidence in the things that we hang our hat on. And so you certainly want to do that. And at the same time, be ready for some of the things that they present to you, because and really all three phases, they were a challenging team. Sometimes you face one that's really challenging in one area and maybe not in the other, but Baltimore's one that really gets after you in three phases. And so we were ready for it, and our guys were ready, and it does help playing in this division because you see really good teams like this. And we just feel like our experience against teams like this really serves us well. And yesterday it did that.
Zach, overall, any injury updates or anything new coming out of yesterday's game?
No, Chris Evans will really just be day-to-day with the hamstring. We'll kind of see where that goes over the course of the week, but really pretty clean otherwise.
Is that what kind of limited? I see he only played special team snaps yesterday. Is that kind of what limited his usage offensively?
Yeah, it was bothering him throughout the game, and Samaje was playing well. Joe was playing well, and so just with his hamstring, we just left him on special teams.
Zach, there was a shot of the coaches in the press box that CBS had after Samaje's touchdown, and they seemed extraordinarily excited about that play. Was it about him? Was it about the play? What was it?
I'll have to go back and watch that now that you say that, because I didn't know that existed. That's good for me to know. No, it probably – well, that would have been the one that kind of capped off the game there. So having been a guy who was in the press box in some of those moments, when you kind of cap it off with something like that, there's a lot of excitement that goes into play there. So, happy that they got to experience that. And I haven't seen it yet, so I'll have to go back and watch the clip. But oftentimes they're muted, so I can't hear. A lot of times I'm yelling at them if they're not muted, and I can't focus. So they mute themselves and they have their fun up there in a moment like that.
Zach, go ahead, Skinny.
Yeah, I was going to say, Zach, you kind of addressed this a little bit last week when asked about how Joe's handled the blitz, but his numbers this year were extraordinarily good against it. Is that just more experience seeing different blitz packages? Is that more guys on offense kind of being on the same wavelength? Why are those numbers so good when teams blitz you?
I think that we've got a pretty experienced group up front that handles it well. That's a good starting point. Our backs have continued to improve over the course of the season, their protection. We incorporated our tight ends more than we ever have yesterday, and they did an outstanding job. We've got a lot of confidence in them. And then, of course, it's Joe. Joe having a calm presence in there. There's plenty of times where there was blocked pressure, but he had to move around in the pocket to find that safe space, and he does that with his eyes down the field. I think the first touchdown to CJ, where Sample was blocking Calais Campbell, and there was a free runner coming off the edge. Joe just slides in the pocket and keeps his eyes down the field and gives CJ an opportunity. So it's really all encompassing. And then the last element is the receivers got to get open. Those guys were playing man coverage oftentimes, and we're trying to pick up the pressure, but those guys have to separate one-on-one against some really good corners, and they did that. So just really proud of the entire unit there. And again, the coaching staff had a great plan, and it really started with Brian Callahan. I mean, he spent an excruciating amount of time this week on the protections, and he led the charge with a great plan, and the guys executed it.
Zach, Tyler talked about, I guess Jamar finding kind of his groove and finding a feel, after, the preseason and training camp he had now, manifesting in the season. At one point, did you kind of see that flip turning or that switch turning in him? And how have you assessed kind of the way he started, given how he looked maybe preceding the season?
I really saw it, his first route that he ran in 7-on-7 in June. He ran a 10 to 12 yard speed out from the slot. And I saw right then that we've got something here that we expected to have. And so just, I think our experience as coaches over a lot of training camp, see a lot of players that have a lot of talent, not overreacting to some of the difficulties that they face. And, because we see the work that Jamar's putting in. I mean, even on game day with him and Troy Walters, Troy and all those receivers, really, just the extra work that they put in. There's so much confidence there. And it's not just false confidence and bravado of I'm talented, so I go out there and make plays. They're putting in the work behind the scenes. And that's a credit to the receivers. It's a credit to Troy Walters and Brad Kirkthorpe also. Those guys have done an outstanding job with that entire room.
Zach and Joe's second year at LSU, obviously they had a perfect season and won a national championship. In his second year here, you're 5-2. Does he have qualities that elevate everybody around him? And if so, what are they?
He's just got that edge to him that's kind of hard to describe. Everyone that is in his presence just has the confidence that he's going to get the job done regardless of the circumstances. And so when you've got the confidence in that quarterback, you elevate your level of play because you know that I got to win. I got to stay alive because he's going to give me the ball. The linemen know if I can just protect for another half second, I see how explosive we are down the field. And so, and sometimes when you don't have that guy, it's maybe you just don't get that extra bit from everybody because they don't have the confidence there. So that's what you talk about when you want players that elevate those around them. It starts with the quarterback. The quarterback's got to be able to do that. And we, without a question, have a quarterback that elevates everybody who's around him.
Coach, there's an obvious chemistry on this team on both sides of the ball, and I would even say just overall. And you bring guys in, you're hoping that they mesh in jail. But can you talk about just seemingly how fast it's happened with this team?
It's happened quickly. We got great people, which I talk about all the time. The new guys that have come in the building are just tremendous, man. I mean, the texts I get from some of them after games, and you can just tell they fit exactly what we were looking for. They just have a great presence about them. A lot of them have seen a lot of different things. That's good for our staff and good for our players. They've been other places. They've had other experience. They've played in big games elsewhere. And it's good to just kind of have that melting pot of people in the building that have different experiences that we can lean from and learn from. And so it's a really cool group of guys and really just to see it in the locker room after the game and on the planes, is really special to be around. And you don't have it with every team. I've been on good teams before where it didn't feel like you always had this chemistry that we have. Good teams, good people, but this chemistry that we have in this team is really special.
Thank you.
You mentioned how difficult it is to prepare and play against Baltimore. You've had quite a few veteran free agents who had not seen Baltimore, had not experienced preparation for Baltimore. It can be overwhelming the first time out of the box. How impressed were you with how those guys handled it the first time being exposed to Baltimore?
Well, we've got some defenders that are just relentless with their pursuit, regardless of who they're playing. But then you look at, you got Mike Hilton and Larry Ogunjobi. They were in this division, so they know. And so it's a benefit to adding people who are aware of kind of the landscape of what we face every week. And then you look offensively, and it's a group that's been together for a while now, aside from some of the rookies. And you had Riley Reif in there, who's experienced. He's seen everything that there is to see. So it's just it's a group that's really blended well together, and they played well together, and they're not afraid of anybody.
Zach, when a team's playing well, we hear often coaches talk about, not letting guys become complacent, and not letting success get to their heads kind of thing. Is that real stuff that coaches are concerned about when a team's playing well, or is that just kind of something that, falls in the category of coach speak?
Oh, there's no question. It's a concern, and, we set out to win the division and go to the playoffs. And we didn't set out to just have a good first 7 games of the season. That wasn't anything that was on our mind. So just making sure that we handle what little bit of success we've had so far the right way is critical, because there's been plenty of teams that have started hot and started well. They don't handle it the right way because now they're getting all the praise that maybe they didn't get before, and they get engulfed in that, and they start feeling themselves a little bit. And we're not going to allow our guys to do that. You can have the joy because we earned it, we need these wins. We want to have these locker room celebrations and these plane rides that are so much fun, but you got to be able to flip the switch. And I said that one correctly, Ben. You flip the switch and you refocus and get ready for the Jets, because the Jets are a good team. I know what their record is, but you can see the qualities of some tough teams that we faced in the past. I see it from their head coach. I see it from some of the guys that are playing on their team. And so we got to work it out for us. And our guys got to be focused and ready to go on the road.
Yeah, I was struggling with that one in real time. Just was not clicking for me there. So thank you for that. It seems like between, I guess, the Jags game and then this game, Burrow and CJ have a really good ability to go off script when they need to. How valuable is that when they can kind of do that, and how much more explosive does that make your offense when they have that kind of capability?
Yeah, when you got those weapons at tight end, it's much is made about the weapons that we have at receiver and running back and quarterback, and the tight ends usually get a pretty good matchup, and so when you got one that can win one-on-one, I mean, he won against the DB on that first touchdown. That was just tremendous. I mean, for my next 50 years, that would be clinic tape on running a corner post, just regardless of who you're running against, the technique and some of the false indicators he gave him. And so and then finishing a run as well. So that was just tight ends to a T right there. Drew Sample having to block 93 for an extended period of time, and CJ being able to win a one-on-one. That was just really cool from that room. And I know that makes James Casey pretty proud to see those two guys do that.
Any more questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, I had one last question. It's not a stat position, the inside, defensive tackles, but Larry Ogunjobi has been playing exceptional football this year. Just talk about his play on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, relentless is the first word I would use to describe Larry and DJ both. To be honest with you, I want to give Larry the praise, but they kind of both have just been stellar in there, and they make it really difficult to run the ball. They're tough in some one-on-one situations, and they pursue the quarterback. I mean, there's so many snaps of Larry you see just chasing downfield, chasing from sideline to sideline, and that's tough when you're in such a physical department in there against Zeitler and those guys. And that's a long game. That's a lot of snaps, and for those guys to give the effort that they give is tremendous. So just a lot of great reps of Larry being able to do that, and he's just been a tremendous addition to our team.
Thank you.
I know you're busy on a Monday, but did you allow yourself to take in any of the national media praise or Good Morning Football or anything like that with some of the comments being said about Cincinnati today?
No, I get the text from friends and people around the league, and that's enough for me. So it was not, I went home last night. My brother's at the Colts, so you get to watch the Colts 49ers game. So that was a good way to unwind last night. And you see some of the clips from our game. It's kind of the first time you get to see the TV clips of it. So again, that's good enough for me. And then we move on, and hopefully we get some good clips this week.
Any more for Coach? All right, Coach, we'll let you go. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Coach.